Welcome to this deep dive brought to you by F1 Blogs. And if you're joining us on the F1 Blogs channel, a big welcome to you too.
Hello!
Today, we're going to get into the recent Spanish Grand Prix. But specifically, through the eyes of Fernando Alonso, he finally got his first points of 2025 there.
That's right. And our plan is really to dig into what he said afterwards, using the reports and interviews shared with F1 Blogs. We want to unpack his thoughts on, well, what went right, what's still a challenge with that car, and maybe what's coming next.
Yeah, get his perspective from sort of the sharp end of that midfield fight.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's jump in. The headline, obviously, P9. Alonso gets points, finally. It's been a really tough start of the season for them, hasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And, how he got those points is a big part of the story. Alonso was very candid about the safety car at the end.
Right.
He basically said he was running like 10th, 11th, maybe even 12th for most of the race. And without that late safety car, he used the word difficult for scoring points.
So he's not shying away from the fact that maybe a bit of luck was involved.
Not at all. He actually made a point of contrasting Spain with, say, Imola and Monaco. He felt they probably deserved points more in those races based on performance.
Okay.
But, safety cars or other things went against them then. In Spain, he said they had that bit of luck at the end. So maybe P9 wasn't fully earned on pure pace, but he's definitely happy to take them, especially after those near misses.
And you could feel that happiness translating to the home fans, too. He talked about that connection, didn't he?
He did. He mentioned seeing the stands standing and agitated in those last few laps, said it gave them an extra boost.
Yeah, that energy must be something else.
It really seems to fuel him. He was clearly glad to celebrate, even calling it a minimum result with the fans. He acknowledged, it's not much, but that shared effort, it clearly means a lot.
Which kind of brings us to why it felt like such a minimum result, why those points came so late in the season. The car's limitations.
Yeah, he pointed straight at that, said the season's been full of ups and downs, and he gave a really stark example, didn't he? Miami.
Oh, right, Miami. What was it?
Just 3 races before Spain, he said he finished 20 seconds behind the second-to-last car. 20 seconds.
Wow. That's not just off the pace. That's almost a different category.
Exactly. It really shows the hole they were in earlier this year.
But things have improved since then. He acknowledged that, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He said the car has got better with the evolutions they've brought. That's shown up with, 3 Q3 appearances in that recent triple header?
Right. So they're getting into positions where they can actually fight for points now.
Definitely. It's a step up from that Miami low point, for sure.
But, and there's always a but, isn't there? The core weaknesses are still there.
Yeah.
Particularly come race day.
He's very clear on that. Qualifying, okay. He feels they can defend well, maybe cover the car's deficiencies a bit when the tires are fresh. They can feel competitive over one lap.
But the race?
The race is different. His words were something like, you end up where you have to end up. And he said they still lack a lot. That lack of race pace especially is the big one.
And the straight line speed seems to be a real killer for them. Makes overtaking almost impossible sometimes.
He really hammered this point home. Said all his overtakes in Spain were on the outside of turn 3. Called it an unusual place.
Which tells you he can't just breeze past on the main straights.
No. He has to, as he put it, invent overtakes in difficult places. He mentioned the exit of turn 7 in Imola too, another tricky spot. He can't just rely on the DRS zones.
So no easy DRS passes like we see the frontrunners doing.
Not a chance, apparently. He was very direct. I would like to overtake on the streets with DRS like others, but right now we can't. He even said when he does open DRS, the cars ahead just pull away. That's a huge handicap.
Ouch. And the race in Spain itself, even before the safety car, wasn't exactly smooth sailing either. Something about tires.
Yeah, he mentioned the front left tire was basically gone after 5 laps. Said that contributed to him locking up and going into the gravel early on.
I remember that moment.
So yeah, he summed up the whole race as extremely complicated. P9 wasn't just handed to him, even with the late luck.
So when you hear all the car issues, the tough overtakes, the tire problems, you do wonder how they keep pushing. But his comments on effort were quite revealing.
They really were. It's that mindset you need when you're fighting for scraps, isn't it? He said they've got used to giving everything for a 10th. just for P10 or P11.
Giving everything for a single point, or maybe not even a point.
Exactly. And he gave that incredible example of Suzuka this year, finished P11, totally anonymous race from the outside looking in, but he described it as possibly the best race of the year for him, personally.
Just because of the effort involved.
Purely because of the effort and focus it demanded from him, yeah. So the result on the timing sheet isn't always the full measure for him right now.
Which probably explains why he said he had to take some risk overtake in Spain, too. You have to push beyond the car's natural limits.
Precisely. When you don't have that straight-line speed buffer, risks become necessary.
And he brought it back to the fans again, didn't he? That seems like a massive motivator.
Huge. He said it would be easy to throw in the towel or settle, but then he sees people making sacrifices, bringing families to the track.
Right.
And that just pushes him, pushes the team to give the maximum. On-track strategy, pit stops, in everything, as he put it.
Though he was still quite grounded about the Spanish race itself. Didn't exactly call it a classic performance.
No, he was realistic, said he didn't think it was a race to remember, but the key message was, we gave everything as always. It's about that commitment, that process right now.
Okay, so looking forward then. Canada is next. Any optimism there?
Actually, yeah, he sounded quite positive about Canada, called it a track that should be a friend and one where he's historically gone well.
So maybe the characteristics suit the car a bit better?
Yeah.
Or just his driving style?
Maybe a bit of both. He seems hopeful they could be more competitive there at least.
And longer term. Still pushing hard on development. Any upgrades coming?
Oh, definitely. He said he's hoping that after Canada, some new part arrives to give them another little jump. He even sort of floated Silverstone as maybe a race where more significant upgrades might appear.
So the push is still very much on behind the scenes to find more performance.
Absolutely. It seems like the plan is fight tooth and nail for every point possible with what they have now, using effort and smarts.
Right.
While working flat out back at the factory to bring updates that address those fundamental weaknesses, especially that race pace and straight line speed, trying to make these points finishes more regular and maybe less reliant on luck.
So yeah, this deep dive really paints a picture, doesn't it?
Yeah.
ALONSO in Spain. Relieved to get points, yes, but still very aware of the car's limits. And just this unwavering dedication really driven by the fans and the sheer difficulty of it all.
It definitely makes you appreciate those battles further down the order, where points aren't about having the fastest car, but about pure grit, taking chances, grabbing every single opportunity. It's a different kind of racing skill on display.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that wraps up this deep dive, bringing you those key insights directly from the reports via F1 blogs. We hope it gave you a maybe clearer picture of the reality for teams scrapping in that midfield and just the huge effort it takes to even get on the scoreboard sometimes.
It's a good reminder, isn't it? Sometimes the most impressive drives aren't necessarily the ones winning the race.
Very true. And hey, if you enjoyed this deep dive and want more like it, make sure you subscribe to the F1 Blogs channel. We'll be back soon with more in-depth analysis.
Thanks for tuning in.